You're exactly right. Like, we're finite, and you can't say, well, no, there's no purpose to that evil. We just don't know. At least you could say you don't know. But then they could flip it on us and say, well, how do you know it's for good? And my response would be, well, we're not basing our knowledge that suffering has good on our observations of seeing the product of suffering. We're basing it off of God's nature, his loving,
That's right. His
caring,
character.
promise keeping. So it's based on something foundational. I ask myself all the time, if I didn't go through suffering, would I go after God? And I think the honest answer is no, because why would I? Why would I need to?
C.S. Lewis, he tells us, right? He says, God whispers to us through our pleasures. He speaks to us through our conscience, but he shouts to us through our pain. It's like a megaphone to rouse a dying world. And what you're speaking to is an unbelievable phenomenon. At the end of the day, yes, for all intents and purposes, Christianity does not necessarily doesn't have a clean record, right? It certainly, there have been some massive abuses done under the name of Christ, under the banner of Christ, which is not the character and nature of Jesus. And right. So we can't use that as a justification to say, well, look at this, right? The truth is, though, throughout history as well, under the greatest amounts of pressure and strain, all of the other world philosophies, ideologies, and religions have cracked, and Christianity has stood firm. And what I mean by that is this. You look at the Black Plague back in the Middle Ages. Everybody ran away from it. Guess who stood firm in it and ran toward it? Christians, right? And what resulted from that was just the beginnings of even like the Red Cross and all of that sort of deal, right? So you've got all of these you can pinpoint over and over and over. And that's because Christianity holds inherently within the DNA of it, this idea that life is not about, as Sigmund Freud would say, the pursuit of pleasure or the avoidance of pain, right? That's not man's chief aim. There is something transcendent, and that is purpose. That's what Viktor Frankl tells us, right? Through logotherapy, man's search for meaning. A Jewish man who survived the Holocaust, watched the worst of all atrocities, and was still able to assign meaning to this. We're not even talking about someone who's a Jesus follower. We're talking about someone who observed the worst of the worst of the worst and was still able to assign meaning and say, you know what? There is something that is transcendent beyond this idea of comfort, convenience, safety, and security, which is the Western American mindset. And that is purpose. And we can find purpose and meaning in anything that we go through, no matter what it is, which is why we have a course called Pain to Purpose.